Good morning to all. So today I will be presenting our group project, which is entitled Do We Have Moral Obligation to Be Honest? Our group members are Dibanjan Manna, Bharti Jain, myself, Anil, Rahul Raj, and Gamakshi Verma. Our instructor for this course is Professor Vineet Sahu. A simple philosophical analysis to the question will highlight that there are two moral terms in the question, honesty and moral obligation. So basically, we will be dealing with um, what is moral obligation and what is honesty and why one is morally obliged to be honest. So, as definition says that moral obligation is a sense of duty which one owes and which he ought to perform, but which he is not legally bound to fulfill. Moral obligation. So, I am not bound by any law, any force, or any rule that I should act in a certain way. I act in a way because of the sense of duty which is there within me. So, for example, you can say that in a marriage it is a moral obligation of the couples to not cheat each other, but still they can cheat each other. They can cheat each other. There is notion of divorce. They have free will, but it is morally obliged that they should not cheat. If they will not cheat each other, then they will have a very happy and peaceful life. They will be happy. So it is another example is that it is one's moral obligation to keep one's promise. If one keeps his promise, then there is trust in the society. And without trust in the society will be very chaotic. So there are some statistics that in that divorce rate in India is so low. 70% of Indians they don't drink. So it's all because of the moral obligation which they have inherited because of the culture in which they have brought up. So in India, this is the culture that which teaches us that these things are wrong. One should not practice. So so to be clear, we are not moral nihilist. We believe that there is concept of morality that exists, and we are neither ethical relativist, which says that this is my way, this is my decisions. You cannot judge me, I cannot judge you. We are not moral relativist. So that is why we are having a meaningful discussion on this topic. So moral obligation is actually is because it is there because of the culture or traditions in which we are brought up that I have covered already. Moral obligation is fundamental for the existence of society, as almost all our societal interactions depend on trust and honesty, which are meaningful only if there is a moral obligation among masses to remain truthful. So, to remain truthful, trust and honesty is actually very fundamental in our society because most of our interactions deal with that. Their basis is honesty, their basis is trust. I trust you, that is why I am having some reciprocation with you. So that is the basis. So let's discover what is honesty. So honesty is simply speaking writing in a way that accurately conveys your beliefs, not necessarily the truth, but what you believe may not be the truth. What you believe can be false, but since you present what you believe to be true as it is, that is why that is honesty. So presenting what you believe is honesty. Now we have many philosophical views on the action of honesty, on the act of lying. So let's deal with the first perspective, that is deontological perspective. So we will begin with Immanuel Kant theory of categorical imperative, which the first formulation of his theory is that one must act to that maximum which you can at the same time will to be a universal law. So if one decides to steal to money, then according to Kant, for that to be moral, you have to wish that every single person would also make the decision to lie to steal money. But if everyone would did that, then the society would break down because no one would be able to trust each other. So according to Immanuel Kant, lying is always morally wrong because if you lie in a certain situation, then everybody can lie. So therefore, lying is always morally wrong. He argued that all persons are born with an intrinsic worth that he called human dignity. Dignity derives from the fact that humans are uniquely rational agents capable of freely making their own decisions and guiding their conduct by reasoning. So there are two reasons that Kant gives that why lying is morally wrong. The first reason is that it corrupts most important quality of my being human. Each lie I tell, I contradict the part of me that gives me moral worth. Secondly, my lies rob others of their freedom to choose rationally. When my lie leads people to decide other than they would have decided if they had known the truth, I have harmed their human dignity and autonomy. So according to Kant, lying is always morally wrong. Now we look at the second perspective, which is a utilitarian perspective, and which says that any act is good as long as it promotes the maximum benefit for the maximum number. So as far as lying and honesty is concerned, the utilitarians base their reasoning on the claim that actions including lying are morally acceptable when the resulting consequences of lying maximize the benefit or minimize the harm. So a lie, therefore, is not always immoral. In fact, when lying is necessary to maximize the benefit or minimize the harm, it may be immoral not to lie. So now let us consider an example that a son gives her late mother's estate to the poor after promising to honor her demand that the money be placed in her coffin. So here the mother demands from her son that he should place all her property in her coffin after she leaves the body. But son reasons that this would be wrong, that honoring his mother's request would be wrong. It cannot be a right thing to do because the money would be wasted, or possibly it would be stolen, and the poor would be denied of an opportunity to be benefited. So the son lies by falsely promising to honor his mother's request. So according to utilitarianism theory, in this example, this theory supports the decision of son because uh, because the decision of son is actually serving the greater good, serving the good. Uh, so therefore, his lying is acceptable by the utilitarianism perspective. Now, there are many critics of this theory that it is not practical because its practical application in decision making is seriously flawed. People often poorly estimate the consequences of their actions, or specifically undervalue or ignore the harmful consequences to the society that their lies can cause. So we are imperfect beings. Our calculations our estimates are not perfect. So we ignore the harmful consequences which our lies can give to the society. As trust declines, cynicism spreads, and overall quality of life drops. So critics further note that how difficult is it for anyone to know that a lie will bring more good than the truth, because the consequences of actions are often very much unpredictable. So for these reasons, critics claim lying is morally wrong because we cannot actually accurately measure the benefits and harms of lies. Now, after looking at the philosophical views, we will now shift to a scientific view, which is known as game theory. So this helps us to construct the results of an honest and dishonest approach. So what are the results of an honest and dishonest approach? So here we will see a case where there is a prisoner's dilemma. So there are two criminals, and they have committed a crime together, and now they have been caught, and they are being separately inquired that whether they have committed the crime or they have not committed the crime. So there are three cases. So in the first case, they both choose to be dishonest. They both simultaneously say that they have not committed they have not committed the crime. So they were dishonest at the same time. So in that case, they both will be freed. Another case is that if one criminal, being honest, agrees that he has committed the crime, and the other criminal, he chooses to be dishonest and says that they have not committed the crime, then the person who was dishonest, he will be very heavily penalized. He has to pay a great price. And the person who remain honest, he will be freed. And the third scenario is that if they both choose to be honest, if they simultaneously accept that they have committed the crime, then they will be very moderately penalized. They will have a very moderate punishment. Here we see that if they both chooses to remain dishonest, in that case they will have the maximum benefit. But actually, the happening of this situation is very less. The probability of happening of this situation is very less, because there is always a psychological pressure on the criminal that what if other person betrays him? If the other person betrays him, then he has to pay a great price. So if he remains dishonest and the other person chooses to be honest, then he has to pay a very great price. So he knows that if he chooses to be dishonest, it is not fruitful for him. It is not beneficial for him. So we see that in all scenarios, if criminal chooses to be honest, he will be benefited. So now we will conclude our presentation. Honesty and lying is an issue worth examining. Lying is usually wrong because it is treating people as means rather than an end in themselves, according to Kant. It is disrespecting their autonomy, and you are robbing them of the ability to make as informed of a decision as they could have if you have told the truth. But Kant takes this too far by saying that no one can never lie, that one can never lie. And then comes the consequentialism, which allows one to lie if that lie is promoting happiness and minimizing suffering of the greater number. But again, it is very difficult for one to know that whether a lie will bring more good than the truth, because the consequences of our actions are very much unpredictable. Then from the scientific perspective also, we saw that the prisoner will be always benefited if he chooses to be honest. So in all scenarios, usually lying is not morally good. Being honest is always good, except in some situations, because it is situational dependent. Okay, so with this we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.